Hi, I'm Frances Goodall from francesgoodall.com and womenswellnesscircle.com, and today I'm here to talk to you a bit about constellations. So basically, a few years ago, I just realised that even though I'd done lots of work on myself, and managed to recover fully from chronic fatigue syndrome, and done lots of inner work to get to that place, from being housebound to with chronic health problems to being fully well. That was a big journey with many ups and downs and lots of deep therapeutic work on myself, lots of clearing trauma, healing old emotional wounds, and then also, of course, things like following a wonderful diet and all those things that support us in being really healthy and happy. And in the 10 years since I've been well, as many of you know, I've been a coach and an EFT practitioner and a body worker, and have an ongoing interest in well-being and health and happiness, and also believe that as a practitioner in this area of work, that it's really important to keep doing my own self-development work and personal growth work. There's always further we can go when we're on a quest for deeper levels of peace and happiness and ease in our systems. So I was noticing that there was still quite a few areas of holding patterns in my body, and I started to think, surely there can't be anything else really, from my own life experience. I feel like I'm holding stuff from the past. So I started to use some NLP type inquiry, and if I was to know the root cause of this issue, would it be before, during, or after my birth? And then when I got the message that it was before, I'd start asking, was it my mother line, father line, and I'd just get this intuitive bodily response of where to go. And I'd take myself on these little journeys and do work on things that happened to like my great grandparents and different things. And that just really led me to a growing interest in the field of constellations, which I'd known about for years, but for some reason hadn't pursued or hadn't been in a group. So I started to go along to a few constellation days, training days where you get a chance to do your own constellations, but also learn about how you can help others in that way. And so I was in time, after going through a few of these days and a few weekend workshops and doing more of my own personal work. I mean, for instance, in my family system, my great grandparents were killed in the Holocaust, so there was obvious big trauma in my family system. I mean, it's not actually surprising when you think about it that something like that could have an effect down the generations. And the field of epigenetics has proven that that kind of trauma does lead to trauma symptoms, or at least higher stress rates and illness rates in the subsequent generations. Also, I've been mentored by someone called Deborah Dondelinger, who combines EFT with family constellations in a system that she's developed called Family Energetics, which I've got a Kindle version of her book, which has been really helpful, and also being mentored by her one-to-one. She's an absolutely wonderful practitioner. I love Deborah Dondelinger. And also, I've just recently been reading this book, Even If It Cost Me My Life, which has some amazing accounts of people using constellations to help heal chronic illness, and actually how underlying a lot of the roots of chronic illness, you might actually see some sort of systemic family issue that once that's brought to light, then the condition heals, or at least gets a lot better. I'm really excited to have just booked up on his course. He's coming to London in October, so if you fancy joining me there, I'm going to be there at the end of October. I'm actually also creating this video for the lovely women in my one of my small group programs, so I can introduce some of the themes of constellations, which we're going to be starting to explore in our group. And also in Women's Wellness Circle, we're going to start exploring some constellations this Saturday in our retreat, and probably also in our retreat in the Lake District in November. So if you're interested in exploring more constellation work, I highly, highly recommend it. It's an incredibly powerful system. There's lots of interesting resources online, like on YouTube, or if you want to explore more with me, you could get in touch with me at francesgoodall.com. it's a new and growing and evolving love of mine, the power of constellations, both in a group and one-to-one. Actually, you can do constellation work one-to-one as well, either using objects to represent people, or perhaps even bits of paper, face different directions, and doing it that way. But the way I generally do it is the way that I did it on myself, and also Deborah Dondlinger does it, which is kind of to, you know, like imagine different family members around and just intuit what needs to be said between the different family members to help resolve an issue and intuit the energy and allow the energy to start to flow again. And it's a lot about enabling love to flow through a family system again. You know, there should be a flow of love through a family system, but it gets often blocked if there's been like a trauma or something, a person that's been neglected from the family system. You know, things like early deaths, things like there's been abortions that haven't been dealt with, or miscarriages, or stillbirths, or someone's been excluded in some way from the family system. It could show up then as an issue in someone's health or emotional well-being later on. So it's a fascinating field of work, and I highly recommend you look into it, especially if you've done a lot of work on yourself and yet you're still finding yourself stuck in certain emotional patterns or physical symptoms that aren't shifting. So yeah, I wish you well, and we'll hear from you soon, I'm sure. Bye.